So Nancy, so just tell me a little bit about your experience at Joliet Central.
It was very traditional because the school had been there for many years, and I knew that. So when we found out we moved, and so our boundaries still landed in Joliet Central, and I was very excited about that, and I was very excited about going to the original school because by that time Joliet West and Joliet East had been built, and I just thought it was so cool to be able to go to Joliet Central and continue the tradition where my mom had gone, and the original school. And the school itself had so much history and so much neat architecture that I was very proud of that. I was very proud of even something as simple as the doorknobs, the doorways, the high ceiling classrooms with the transoms above the classroom doors, and the secret passages, and the third floor. Even in our physics class, on the third floor, it was like an old wooden with the old black slate blackboards, and there was a secret passage between the two sections of the what would you call it, stadium seating in the lecture hall. And then on the fourth floor, there was a planetarium, which was also very neat to know that I was in a school that had a greenhouse on the roof and a planetarium on the roof. Probably the most fun I had in high school was, of course, all my friends and everything, but I was involved in music, so I was in choir, and once I got into a cappella choir, and then I tried out we had to audition for a cappella choir, we had to audition for what would be swing choir. Back then they called it madrigals, but it was like a swing choir. And once we got into a cappella choir, whatever locker we were assigned as a freshman, we got moved up into the choir hallway. So all the kids that you were in choir with, you were also sharing lockers next to each other, and it was one big happy choir family. I was in a lot of clubs. I was in National Honor Society. I was in German club, and choir, and swing choir, and a couple other things I can't remember, but I was in a lot of different things. I think probably the memory that I remember the most was basketball games were huge. We had a huge gym, and our basketball team was awesome. And that was very cool, and also being in musicals when I was a junior and a senior in high school, and I was in musicals. Best fun memories. One memory I remember specifically was we would always meet, if you wanted to meet one of your friends after school and you were trying to think like, okay, all right, after this class or after that class, meet me, and then we'll leave and we'll go to blah blah wherever. We would always meet at the Steelman. So the Steelman was centrally located. It was a big, huge statue, and it had these two sort of 1920s kind of Art Deco guys next to the Steelman. And it was on a big platform, and that was our meeting place. So we would say, let's meet at the Steelman, and that's where everybody met. And then after school, we would meet up, and then we would head out and go do other things. And I think I even had my picture taken on the Steelman probably several times. So lots of good memories in high school. Mostly the tradition. We totally thought that we were in the best school possible in Joliet, so we thought we were like all over Joliet West. They were so not cool, and we were so cool because we were in the original big old castle-like building. So we were totally it because we were Joliet Central. Very proud of that. Very proud of the blue and gold. Very proud of the Steelman. And very proud of the tradition that my family, my mother went there, my father went there, my aunts and uncles all went there. Now find out my mother-in-law went there, my father-in-law went there. Of course, cousins, all kinds of people went to Joliet Central, and great tradition. Controversy at that time, I think you told me that was one of the topics. The only controversy that I can think of at the time, just before I got into high school, there was still a lot of racial riots going on. So we also happened to live close to Joliet Central, so we could look out our back window and we could see fires going on downtown Joliet where there was like racial riots going on and they would set a building on fire. So that was before I actually got into high school. Once I got into high school, things settled down, but there was an occasional situation of some type of a racial situation in a negative way, but it never really escalated too much by the time I graduated from high school. It all happened before I graduated. Other than that, I can't really think of anything except that it was some of the best memories of my life, some of the best days of my life.
In what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 1975.
Oh. Well, thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome, Haley Roechner.